Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 422. It is the fourth day of the week, aka the Buster Cannon workout, but it doesn't look like that anymore. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. 1 year of working out at home. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because it's been a year since I started working out at home majority, and now officially full time. I will be probably more so when the voiceover, but I just wanted to talk about it because there's some pluses and minuses, some things that you do see and don't see whenever you have something like set up at home. I think there are some plus and minuses, especially because there are some things that are unforeseen unless you take your time. One of the biggest things I would say, and this is before we get into anything, and that is invest in quality. See this video right here as to why I say that. Invest in quality is probably the number one thing I would say, no matter what you are doing when it comes to the home gym. Splurge a little bit in quality because that is your life that you're playing with. So thankfully my shit wasn't that bad, but at the same time, it could have been much, much worse and in different positions. Would recommend that. That's the one thing that I'll say above all else is the most important when like starting a home gym or whatever. Go with a little bit of extra quality. Make sure that it's a good product. If it's not good, you're playing with fire for real. You know, that you're playing with your life. With that being said, we'll look at some positives, some negatives that I didn't think would happen, but I guess, you know, now that I've been here for a good chunk, you kind of start seeing them and a few other things like that when we get to Mother Base.
Alright, so start this day off with leg extensions, which are pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. 1 year of working out mostly at home, and now it's officially fully working out at home. I don't go to the local gym anymore because I terminated my membership because I felt like I might as well do all of the stuff at home. And it's been pretty good so far. I actually haven't really missed the actual gym. The one big benefit I will say about having a workout area at your house or wherever you live is the fact that you can do it whenever. I think that that's the biggest key factor that has been the very nice factor about having a home gym. Working out whenever I want. Now, there is the issue and the big elephant in the room called my bed, which is another factor about it, where if I'm comfortable, I don't want to move. And I know that the other stuff that I need to do is in the other side, whilst getting something like is in the other room, while getting to the gym is like an adventure. You have to kind of prep for it and get ready to go. It's not like a simple walk into a different room and there you go. It does cause a little bit of a friction there in a certain sense where I have to mentally prepare to go into what is a garage, and it kind of sucks because it's cold in there more likely than not because it's a fucking garage. You have to do that type of stuff and then just mentally prepare for it. Sometimes I'm not feeling it, so we'll watch a motivational video or something along those lines in order to get prepped for it. But at the same time, once you're in there just like the regular gym. So the bar to entry is a little higher mentally, but once you're in, you're in. There is a little bit of a hype up to get to the gym. There is the missing that entire part, the driving, the going there, the parking, all that stuff. Don't really necessarily miss it, but the idea of it I do miss in that sense. The hype that could lead and can really get into a workout. You know, you get to see how packed it is. You get to see all these other things, these smells, these sensations, whilst the garage stays relatively the same for the most part. It might stink a little in there, but that's about it, really. It's just kind of like depending on how cold it is outside will be how cold it is in there, really. And that's one thing that I overlooked when I was starting this. I like working out in shorts and a t-shirt. I can't do that in like 6 months out of the year because it is cold in there. I'm not a huge fan of the cold. I like hot stuff. So seeing things like that, yeah, I could get a heater, but it's just going to be kind of useless. It's like heating half the room. And then after a certain point, I'm just going to get hot. So it might as well just kind of deal with the cold. But that's something that you just kind of don't really think about necessarily when you're doing this type of stuff, whenever you start making your home gym. Or like, for example, if you're going to do plate loaded stuff, thinking about going back and forth and putting all the fucking plates on the machine is something that I did not prepare for. And will I say I regret not spending the $500 to get a plate stack? No, I don't do that. I don't necessarily regret it. I would highly recommend if you just splurge the money. Buy once, cry once is truly a honest to God way to live when it comes to the home gym sphere. It's something that you're just going to have to do. You're going to have to spend at least some money on something that you realize either isn't good, useless, or just not good for you personally in your area, or space or lack thereof. I think space is probably the second biggest thing that you'd probably have to factor in, because space is something I not necessarily didn't factor in, but now if I want to get anything else, it's a tight fit at this point. I have like a little pile in the corner of stuff that eventually I'm just going to have to start piling up because I just don't have any more room for it, and it's taking up a lot of room. A lot of my garage that you don't see on this side, because of course the camera's not facing it, you'll see a just massive amounts of mess of attachments and things like that for the bench that I got. But it's useful, but I'm also it's shitty in a certain sense, because now I'm taking up way more space and starting to spill to the point where if I do get anything else, I'm gonna have to put it in some other part of the house, which is now you're starting to get into other rooms and it's other territory, and then that becomes a whole issue, which is something to think about. And selling stuff is a very viable option to get rid of it and make more room, but it is something to think about, because I will say it can add up very, very quickly. And then all of a sudden you're running out of room to actually do the working out part of it. And then you have to deal with all of that type of stuff. Kind of annoying, but it's not the worst of them all. The fact that if I wasn't recording and I could work out naked is part of the deal. I love that idea in general.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, so back to the main subject matter for today. Working out at home, pros and cons over the last year. But basically the main reason why I wanted to talk about this is because there are a lot of more cons and things that come up that you don't really expect whilst working out at home. Obviously, I wouldn't change it for the world because I like the ability to just do it whenever I want to. It adds an extreme amount of flexibility to my working out routine that I can literally do it at any time, at anywhere, at any day, and pivot if I need to. Let's say if I have to, my day is too busy the next day, I can just do it the day after. You know what I mean? I could push it a little. So that's the fun part. But there are some downsides to it that I think a lot of people don't end up realizing, or at least minimize a little too much. I think a lot of the time you'll hear it in passing, some of these issues, and then you don't really think about it much until you actually experience it. And then once you experience it, you're like, oh fuck, okay, this is genuinely kind of sucks. So that is something to think about, because even though it might be my fault for disregarding these things, it's not something that I think is an uncommon thing to do when getting into stuff. You'll disregard some of the negatives thinking, oh, that's probably not going to affect me. That doesn't sound like it'll affect me at all, up until it does. And then when it does, well, there you go. You're kind of screwed, right? But you live and you learn. But generally speaking, I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been a good experience. I'm glad that I've fully deep dived into this, because I'd rather have this than having to do the going to the gym every day. I think that was definitely adding some wear and tear, just extra stuff to do and making it so the gym process, although fun inside, everything around it made it not as fun. It was just a bog, to say the least. But I'm glad that I did it, and I'm glad that it got me to the point where I can do this here. And now it's not going to be it's not going to be a 1-to-1 scale, of course, because you kind of have to change things up because you're limited on equipment, space, and time. But overall, a good experience. And if you can, please get a home gym, or at least work out at home if you can. You don't even need much technically, but you can do it. And for, I wouldn't say relatively cheap, don't go too cheap, but decently cheap. Facebook Marketplace is a massive place in order to find great deals. And most of this stuff, even the more expensive things, you'll find people just going like, get rid of it, I don't care. So you can get a lot of good stuff for on the cheap. So doesn't mean it's necessarily cheap quality. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comment section down below about this one. This one was kind of a random one, but still one that, you know, a sequel nonetheless down the road. But please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there and stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.